It all started when the lone cameraman saw the usual Skibidi approaching him. The operator's heart raced as a familiar, intimidating figure appeared in the distance. The huge Skibidi was approaching, moving slowly on his muscular legs and shaking his massive body. Its dead pale face with empty eye sockets was staring forward, its mouth open, revealing rows of sharp teeth ready to tear its victim apart. The cameraman froze, numb with horror. There was nowhere to run. The monster would catch up with him in no time. There was only one thing left: to act. His heart was thundering like a madman when Skibidi came within leaping distance. And at that moment, the operator jumped swiftly onto the monster's back, clinging to the slippery surface with all his might. He reached for the drain and pulled the lever with all his remaining strength. There was a clanking sound, and the water rushed out in a powerful stream, gushing out. Skibidi roared with rage, his legs gave out, and he collapsed to the ground, shaking everything around him. His body went limp, his strength leaving him. The operator slid to the ground in relief, looking at his defeated foe. He had succeeded. Cunning and desperate courage had helped defeat the monster. At the same time, another huge Skibidi was devouring the poor cameraman. The huge monster was eating the poor cameraman with slurping sounds, greedily shoving his bloody body into its mouth. Its victim struggled helplessly in the steel grip of its jaws, uttering death rattles. Suddenly the silence was broken by a deafening explosion. A flying Skibidi armed with twin laser cannons appeared right in the middle of the battlefield. Next to it, two huge helicopters piloted by Skibidi pilots rose into the air. Their blades cut through the air with an intimidating roar. The situation seemed hopeless. The flying Skibidi aimed their deadly cannons at the surviving operators, preparing to wipe them out. Helicopters hovered nearby, covering him from the air. It seemed to be the end. The cameraman waited doomedly for the inevitable death of a new armada of all-destroying monsters. When it seemed that the enemy was invincible and the death of the operators was inevitable, two huge figures, enveloped in the flames of rocket engines, suddenly burst from the sky. They were the legendary Titans Cameroons, who had come to the rescue at the very last moment. Their appearance was like that of the angels of retribution. The armored hulks of the heroes clanked to the ground in front of the dumbfounded operators. The Titans straightened to their full gigantic height, shrouding the sky. Their multi-ton fists clenched, missiles erupted from their shoulder-mounted rocket launchers. Explosions enveloped the enemy helicopters in fireballs, mangled debris sprinkled from the sky. The Skibidi crews howled and went down before they even realized what had happened. And then one of the Titans leapt at the flying Skibidi with a lightning-fast dash, grabbing it like a puppy and in one motion ripping out the laser unit and its head. The heroes showed their indestructible might and saved the operators from certain death. The danger seemed to be over, but the joy of victory was premature. Suddenly there was a low rumble in the sky and a new flying Skibidi appeared, armed with an 8-shot rocket launcher. Without wasting a second, the monster fired a volley at one of the Titans. The missiles whistled toward the hero, ready to tear him apart. But the Titan lightning quickly jumped aside, evading the deadly volley. Then he leapt into the air and grabbed the enemy with his steel hands. Skibidi howled, flapping his wings helplessly in the Titan's grip. The hero effortlessly tore the monster in half as if it were a toy. The debris flew downward, exploding against the ground. The Titan landed back, proudly straightening to his full height. He had once again proved his invincible strength by defeating another monster. Enemies would be destroyed, no matter how many appeared. While the first Titan fought the rocket-powered Skibidi, his partner was finishing the massacre of the other monster. The mangled laser-wielding Skibidi lay at the Titan's feet, wheezing and writhing helplessly. His laser unit had been ripped out along with one arm. The Titan grabbed his opponent's weapon and with one jerk stuck it straight into the monster's open maw. Skibidi reeled, trying to spit out the laser, but it was too late. With a powerful leg kick, the Titan sent the monster to the other side. There was a deafening explosion, and the monster's remains flew apart. The Titan straightened up proudly, admiring his work in destroying the monster. His metallic body was covered in the green slime of his defeated foe, but he was determined to continue the battle. With the last monster dead, the Titans exchanged high fives in triumph, celebrating their victory. It seemed the worst was over, but it was too soon. A new, even more formidable army of Skibidi loomed on the horizon. Thousands of monsters were moving towards the city, filling the entire space. Giant striders stood out among them, striding on long legs and carrying entire cannons. Nearby hovered Skibidi helicopters with rotating blades. There were other monsters with a variety of armaments. The Titans froze for a moment, looking at this accumulation of horror. But there was no fear in their hearts. They looked at each other and nodded. Their metallic bodies tensed up, ready to engage in a new battle. With heavy footsteps, the heroes moved towards the enemy army. The battle was for the very survival of mankind. And the Titans were ready to take the fight with honor. One night a man did not subscribe to our channel of scary stories. Since then, every time he falls asleep, the monster sings him lullabies under his bed. Save yourself the nerve, sign up.